did you say something the other day about like it might have been on a Live and Learn episode of you saying that you don't know how like we shouldn't follow Republicans' footsteps and do things like attack Fox News and all these other forms of disinformation that Republicans have been using to like mind melt the entire population. Am I right in that?
In a way that would be like corrupt. Like I don't think that we should corruptly. I don't think that we should corruptly wield the state to target Fox News. But if they, if they violated FCC guidelines, or if they broke the law, or if they slandered someone, you want to do a civil case, of course, do that thing. But like, yeah.
But like, as long as your FCC doesn't tweet out, "Hey, if you do this, we're going to go after you," then I think we're good.
Yeah, and I don't think we should do it the same way. But like, I know I hate making this comparison because everyone makes a comparison to Nazi Germany. But like, after the war, like they didn't allow the newspaper and the mass media that the Hitler and the SS and the Nazis used to continue.
Well, what are you saying here? What are you saying?
I'm just saying that there's a
be specific.
A gradient of things that we can do.
Okay, like
and
what?
We go as far as like, full state control and shut down Fox News, but also there's like doing nothing. We can go as far as like using the state to take down Fox News, which I don't want them to do.
It drives me insane that people propose solutions that was used in the like post World War II. Like we are like, obviously if we have a fucking hot civil war, like, all bets are off and maybe we do Nuremberg stuff or whatever. Like, but like, I don't understand how these things apply in the current context when they're already getting fucking demolished. You know what I mean? Like they're doing all this corrupt shit. This presidency is just explicitly corrupt. The public can see that. They know that he's corrupt. They disapprove of his corrupt actions and they're getting demolished. And so I don't know why you would do this like risky shit to make a martyr out of Fox News by doing corrupt targeting by the state. Like what? I don't think
I don't think some form of accountability that we can land on.
I think the best way to frame it where we don't lose our soul in the process and liberalism and all of that, it's because we also have a very specific things in place that protect, our democracy and liberalism, like, the First Amendment. I think there is a way to hold these companies accountable. I think I proposed this earlier, like maybe they can be like some kind of nonpartisan, like fact checking, whatever, where like maybe they can be fined if they like are consistently spreading misinformation. Maybe we can find ways within, our democracy and our ideals and our values where we can like hold these companies accountable, because I think we all agree they should be held accountable in a way where it doesn't like compromise what we believe in America.
That's why I came in the call so
Eagle.
No, I completely agree. Yeah.
That gets you to some First Amendment concerns. I feel like we got a lot of backlash from like Biden's fucking misinformation, like third party. You know what I'm talking about?
They proposed like a task force to coordinate with the social media companies to crack down on misinformation about the vaccine, and they got fucking pilloried for that. It lasted like a month because
there's gotta be a middle ground.
The middle ground. The middle ground is saying, hey, there was an investigation into Barry Weiss, and we saw that they were purposely doing this shit, like they did with Dominion, and Dominion got fucked. So you just have to. Right. It's the same way
we did this about
Fox. Fox News got fucked. We do it's the exact same thing.
If you could like doing a media talk about it too. Sorry, and without like doing inflammatory shit, I think that's what like Hutch's issue is. Like, I think the more we do inflammatory shit, not only we become like them, but like we're also risking that, not just like the public thinking that we're politically motivated, but we're risking that then it just never stops too. I think there are ways to do about it without.
It is bad politics. It's just bad politics. Like I feel like these proposals get put out there with no regard for like, and then I get pushback. I feel like a loaner box kind of pushed back a little bit. A lot of people in DGG push back when I say like, have you thought about like the consequences where, like, do you not think that this could like really blow up in your face? And, the pushback is like, well, they're already doing it right now. And like, even if that's true, that doesn't mean that it's the smart thing for us to do, when we have a trifecta. That doesn't make it smart. Like the fact that it's happening right now, there is no, I'm not beholden to this like standard of justice in the universe that it seems like you guys are. Like, I'm not thinking about like necessarily justice in the same way. I'm just thinking about like, what are the best decisions that we can make? What can we reasonably expect is going to happen? And Vishy, I'm glad you brought that up, but like, we do have an example of the Biden administration. Early on in his administration, they did form like a task force that was supposed to they weren't going to literally censor social media companies because they don't have the constitutional authority to do that. All they were going to do was liaise with these social media companies and collaborate with them. And
people freaked out, right?
And they lost their fucking minds. It was a political stick of dynamite for the administration. So they quickly disbanded it because it blew the fuck up in their faces. And so I need you to stop.
How do we do that? Oh, sorry. Please,
also,
sorry.
No, I got it. Also, FTC. We have an FTC. Just get Alina Khan in there. Let her do her thing.
I have a different kind of solution there. Like this is the reason, like y'all kind of reaching on the reason why I came in so gung-ho about prosecution is because I think that if like we were able to get Trump or a major MAGA figure on like some conspiracy to commit insurrection, I think if that charge hits anybody in the MAGA movement, then using the 14th Amendment becomes way easier, and there is so much more avenue for us to get actual accountability across the board. Like you could open up investigations into Fox because of that. Like there was a lot of different ways.
But you're starting from a premise of like you're not coming at it from a perspective of like here's the law that I think they broke or here's the regulation that I think they broke.
Well, I am.
Conspiracy
to commit an insurrection.
I don't know. I feel like if Jack Smith didn't feel like he had enough evidence to charge Trump with insurrection, I really doubt that the federal government is going to be able to come up with a compelling legal argument to shut Fox News down for the 14th Amendment.
There's a lot of time between now and then.
Guys, none of this is serious. None of this is serious. We need to stop.
No, it is. Please. It really is.
No, it's not. It's not. I promise you, this is not going to happen. They're not even going to think about doing something like this. It would have to
So
get.
how do we combat foreign misinformation that is like being intentionally flooded into our media ecosystem?
Well, that's a different thing altogether. That would be up to the NSA or the
Oh yeah, DOJ. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
If it's foreign intelligence, legislate foreign shit.
I want to get back to something. Do you know the reason why Jack Smith wasn't able to didn't try to bring insurrection charges? It wasn't because he didn't think that Trump was guilty of it. It's because that's like a question that has never been settled in court. It would be a very difficult thing.
Yeah, he felt like it would be much easier, much stronger, much more straightforward if he brought different set of charges. But I think he did probably consider what Trump did an insurrection. But that doesn't mean that it was a smart thing to do to charge him with insurrection. That kind of gets to my point.
What possible better time could there be than now to settle that legal question?
Can you guys answer this question? And I feel like I ask it to everybody who I get into these conversations with. When you look at the state of the Republican Party, and when you look at the electoral results, and when you look at the current path that we're on right now, which is there's no sugarcoating this or overstating it, it is catastrophic for Republicans. Why are you trying to dive into these we need to get really creative and we need to think about invoking the 14th Amendment and we need to reverse engineer a way to prosecute Fox News to take them off the air? You are going so far with this analysis when we just look at meanwhile, Representative Jim Stewart with a D next to his name just, blew out a fucking special election by 95 points. It's just hello, we're to Vishy's point, the way that you handle this situation, the way you navigate through this climate that we're in right now is you win fucking elections. You just win as many fucking elections as you possibly can. You just keep doing that. And you're going to have losing cycles and you're going to have winning cycles, but you want to make the best decisions possible so you have more winning cycles. You really don't think you can't imagine the public backlash if President Newsom announces that his DOJ is trying to imprison Rupert Murdoch under the 14th Amendment or something? You can't imagine how that would just spectacularly explode in his face and hobble.
There's a balance between imprisoning Rupert Murdoch for, violating that and holding the network accountable for what they've done. And that's what I wish.
You haven't told me what they've done. What have they done?
I mean, like I know it's like it's difficult. Like we need to introduce new laws or something like that. I think that would probably be number one, because like there has to be a way where it's like, yeah, they're not technically breaking the law, but a lot like a blatant lie to the people and this like misinformation machine that they've created with the help of foreign
and you think, but
that needs to be
hang on,
somehow.
but hang on. You think in the current climate right now, where like a good percentage of the country genuinely believes that the Democratic Party were, like working with like Twitter or whatever, like the Joe Roganification of the fucking discourse. You think
that's the problem.
But you think in this climate that the Democrats wouldn't be fucking pilloried politically for what you're suggesting here?
Why do the people think that it was the Democrats that did the bad thing with Twitter? Why does the public believe that, but they don't think that what like CBS and Barry Weiss had done and with Trump's has done is so much worse?
Well,
I think they may do. I don't know yet.
But
like that's what like bothers, like that's what like confuses me. It's like, yeah, I understand like the problem is like Democrats, unfortunately, we listen and we react to the backlash of the people.
Look,
and they don't
listen. If you have a country with the kind of free speech laws that we do, this is something that is possible. People are going to lie. People are going to profit from lying. This is not.
But we might need to change that with the advent of the internet. But
it's different now. But what you're doing, what you're proposing, is like a constitutional amendment, and
I think that's what we need to.
But listen,
obviously, it's impossible to do.
No, but this is not serious. Like, what makes you think
it needs to be?
Listen to me, though. Listen to me, Usurp. Listen to me. What makes you think that you're going to be able to build the kind of consensus that you would need to pass a constitutional amendment to crack down on free speech in America in 2026?
I don't think you need to necessarily crack down on free speech. I think
we need
to understand that like not all free speech, not all speech is good. We already understand that as a country.
Okay,
right?
well, let me say
things you can't say.
Okay, let me say restrict free speech.
Yes, and I think we need to restrict, we need to have maybe like punishments if you are a media company or if you're some kind of pundit or somebody who speaks on the news. You can't just flat out lie. You can't just take Russian disinformation and repeat it on American airwaves without any repercussions.
That would require. Well, I mean, you do have there are remedies that people have if they feel like they've been slandered or there's libel.
Yeah, but
these kinds of
we
things.
Need to add more of those things.
Well,
listen, we have slander and libel, and you can't yell fire in a crowded place. But you're not. Has to be something.
But respectfully, you're not answering my question. Would you agree that this moment culturally right now, like the concept of free speech, like that the right definitely came out the better end of that dispute. So what I mean when I say that is the narrative that Elon Musk saved free speech by buying Twitter. I mean, let me simplify this a different way. Okay, let me ask you, when you look at the culture right now, the discourse, all of that, what makes you think that you have enough consensus in this country right now to pass a constitutional amendment? That is a very high bar. You got to convince 2/3 of the governors. I mean, you need a super majority in Congress.
Difficult.
It's not, but
it's
not that it's, hold on, wait.
It's impossible.
It's not that it's very difficult. What you're describing is impossible. So why would you instead not work on, let's figure out how to message better. Let's figure out how to get more creative about how we confront these ideas from the Republican Party. Why don't we do more outreach? These kinds of things. What you're describing is impossible. Is not going to happen.
Because Republicans came out looking better on free speech when they're worse on it, and that's the problem.
I think
they
right
are
now
so much worse when it comes to free speech, and they are somehow viewed as the champions of free speech, even though.
I don't think right now. Right now, I don't think so. I think right now Trump has done a huge disservice to free speech, discourse where they may not even be the free speech people. I don't think I've seen an attack on Dems on free speech in a while.
It's because we're in an off election year. Just wait until June, July, August.
But to kind of piggyback on that. Oh, go put that up.
I'm sorry, really quick. But can this be handled in a way where it's not a crime, but maybe it's again a civil thing? Maybe is there a middle ground where we can handle this in a way where people don't whine about the fucking, you know what I mean? Like we don't have to approve it to Congress, or I don't know, like maybe like a bridge where increment, you know, like little by little, you know what I mean?
That was what I was going to bring up,
What,
actually.
what Hutch and I are saying is just don't have the government be the mechanism of doing that. Make the people do it. You can sue them.
No, I think we can. Like, it could be very easily that you, instead of going through a whole constitutional amendment, you could have the FCC regulate people who intentionally lie.
I think what you're describing would require a constitutional amendment.
And I think, like, unfortunately, we need to figure out how, like, maybe we need to figure out and work on the best way to actually get that done. Because to think that we can never pass another constitutional amendment for the remainder of United States history we can't think that way, because our system was designed to be able to change with the times.
Wow.
And we live in a different world today. Like, it's different. Like, I can't imagine what World War II would have been like if half the writers for the New York Times were Nazis and they were pretending to be, you know, Jane and John down the street. I can't imagine what that world would have been like. And in no reality would the United States have accepted that. FDR would not have let the Nazis control the media. But for some reason, we're letting, this is Mike Schizo's theory, like Qatar and Russia control so much of the United States narrative. I mean, like, why do we, like, I remember I had a conversation before the election with some guy I work with, and he was telling me how he's voting for Donald Trump because of trans women in sports, especially trans women or trans people in the NCAA. And I asked him, like, how many athletes do you think there actually are, like trans athletes in the NCAA? And he thought it was like 300-400 when it was like 7. So, like, we have these people that are being influenced by these conversations online that have no attachment to reality, but these, like, false realities are influencing them to vote in a specific way. And I understand it's difficult. I understand it's not likely to get done, but we have to still address it. We can't pretend like this problem doesn't exist.
Oh, well,
I mean, ways we could address it without amendment, without anything like that. Like, I don't know why we think that defamation and libel laws are, like, don't require an amendment, but saying, like, the FCC regulating it, like, all the things it does, but it couldn't regulate intentional lies.
Again, you're bucking up against the girthy wiener of the First Amendment. So it does get very tricky as soon as you start to try to pass any kind of law to, like, to regulate lying in this kind of way. And so that requires an insane kind of consensus that is just inconceivable, not just now, but like that's really difficult for me to imagine, because when I think of, like, what is America and what do we collectively think about when we think about America, free speech is really close to the top. It's probably the top thing that people think of when they think of America, like, you know, free trade or free speech and the right to bear arms.
But is all speech good?
No, but that's not the point, man. Like, if some speech is bad, we should be able to regulate it.
To make it
Whoa!
Listen, I don't. I disavow.
No, honestly, if libel is illegal, and you can't do that, why is it so, like, impossible to imagine that intentional lying for a political goal is illegal?
I want you to go and, like, make that case to the American people and just tell me what feedback you get from them.
I don't think that would be that hard. I feel like you're overestimating.
Can you answer that? Like, why is some form of speech that is illegal in a country with a First Amendment and a freedom of speech? We've all accepted that, right? We accept
because
that some
the First Amendment accepts lies. That's why it's not. What do you mean?
Not lies against people, right?
No. But you already have a mechanism to get relief from that, though. You sue them for libel.
Wait, you said against people. That's libel.
Yeah.
We can wait for lawyers to figure this out. We can just all agree that something has to be done.
And you're right. Maybe it's not even the government that has to regulate. Maybe it is some kind of crazy new avenue in which you can enforce civil penalties, like the people can somehow get into a class action against these media people. But to just pretend like, oh, you know what, it sucks, this is just a reality we have to live in, when all these rules were made before the internet. I think it's like it would be so much easier to not have to deal with this problem. But also, I don't think it's good to bury your head in the sand and pretend like it doesn't exist.
Listen, this. Yeah, go ahead, Bishy.
I was gonna say no one is saying it doesn't exist. We're just saying some of the solutions you're saying is a little unhinged.
Oh, I agree. I don't think listen. I am not smart. I'll be the first to admit I am not smart enough to figure it out or how to fix it. But I do think that smarter people out there need to somehow come up with a solution that Americans would be able to handle.
I think we have mechanisms in the government that will be able to do it, but I think our solutions are just so unhinged, even like ours, where you could say maybe the FTC has something they can do that isn't bad, that they haven't, like that Lena Khan could do. We don't know. I think we have the mechanisms in place to do it. I just think some of the things we're trying to make the mechanisms do is bad. I think Lena Khan was really good at this FTC antitrust shit. She could do the same thing, block mergers, block this stuff. And it's not going to be against free speech because we're saying it's an antitrust type narrative. Like the way you frame it's antitrust. It's not going to be a free speech thing. It's, hey, you guys are like control, like Paramount's about to buy fucking CNN now, right? If like maybe the FTC can do some shit. Like down the line.
But I mean, even that though. I mean, come on. Like Trump is already Trump is doing that now, and like look at the backlash, bro. Look at the backlash. Like look at what he did in terms of pressuring. Was it CBS to can what was his name? What's the guy?
The television.
Did you see Netflix dropped out of the deal? No. So Paramount's going to buy them.
Point being, I'm not saying the FTC should do it. I'm just saying there might be
Colbert. So like that action was really unpopular. Okay, like people saw that and they were like, "What the fuck? This is America." Okay, so if you do that, but liberal, they're gonna have the same reaction, and they're gonna.
But what's happening with Colbert at the end of the year?
He's gonna.
He's off the air. They did it. No, but I'm telling you, they got their goal, and everyone forgot about it.
No, but I'm telling you, like the pendulum is gonna swing in the other direction when the next Democratic president comes into office, and these corporations these corporations are capitulate. Can we use that to do the same thing that they did when it was politically
that, right?
When it was politically bad for them?
I feel like there's going to be a very big reason for us to want to regulate lies after Trump. I think Trump is.
Listen, I'm detecting critical levels of un-Americanness here, and I don't like it.
Oh, don't.
I don't like it.
I don't like it. No.
I don't like it. I don't like the way I feel right now. I don't like this feeling in me right now.
Also, when Trump's
nothing more American than trying to save the Republic. There's trying to save the Republic from these lies.
You don't like these colors. Don't run. First of all, second of all, if you don't like America, you can get the fuck out.
Listen, my grandparents didn't come here on a fucking boat for me to be able to have these Russians lie to us. All right.
Wait, let me say this. Okay, think about it. 4 years. What? Let's say it's Pritzker trifecta 2028. Let's just say this. Do you think Barry Weiss is going to do the same shit? Do we think all these people are just going to be like, let's just do misinformation? There's no money in it. Like, I think in these, let's say you have 8 years of Pritzker and shit. Do you not think that, like, media might change as well, just like naturally?
No, I don't at all.
Hutch,
not with outside foreign.
Oh my god, let me ask another question. Do you think, Hutch, Mr. Liberalism, do you think there is a way within the framework of liberalism to, in some future, try to fight misinformation in a way where we don't lose our freedom and our First Amendment? You don't have to be specific about the way, but do you think there is a way?
Yeah, but like I think a liberal would tell you that these things would come from like the people or like market solutions or, you know, here I got a really cringe thing I could propose here. Okay, you know, young people, there's a lot of backlash against. Oh God, my chat is gonna revolt, especially Twitch. But fuck you guys, I don't care. There's a lot of like
AI.
Yes, there's a lot of backlash against AI from like the older generations, Gen X and Millennial. They fucking hate AI.
In a universe where it's not biased.
But if we can imagine a situation where young people get used to using AI and AI is not like that particular model is not, deliberately influenced to be partisan in one direction or another, then I actually do think that has the potential to steer people away from fact checks. So like even Grok, for example, like he's put his thumb on the scale, but it honestly does a decent job of fact checking. I don't know if you guys have noticed this. If you see a tweet, if you see a tweet that is making some crazy claim and you click the little Grok symbol, in my experience, it honestly does a pretty decent job of fact checking. So, I think right now the problem with fact checkers is like, I don't know. My dad, for example, right? If I send him like a CNN article that's like really detailed and explain, he will look at that and go, well, it's fucking CNN. And like MAGA, like anytime you tell them about fact checking, they're like, oh, fact checking, does that come from CNN? But if the young people, if the younger generation, they're going to be raised with these AI models, they're not going to have the same kind of like negative view of them in the same way that like my generation does or Gen X does. And, I do think that positions them to be a little bit better. And then at that point, it's like more concerns about like the tech oligarchs and, are they going to abuse this technology and, deliberately obfuscate the truth with those kinds of systems. But that's a separate kind of like it's different. It's like a new challenge.
Maybe in the future where we take over, we have a trifecta, and then like the Republicans feel like a little bit more threatened. Maybe they will be on board with like creating some sort of system that like it's bipartisan and or non-partisan that holds,
if it is, then good.
Misinformation accountable. But that's a possibility that it could be done like that, right?
Also, I genuinely think that these people we're talking about are the fringe, and these swing voters aren't the type of people that will be like, oh, it's CNN. I'm going to go back to the whole material conditions thing. I think the people that you can, I try not to focus on the people you're not going to be able to swing at all. I'm like, all right, cool, I give up. I'm not like, if you're not even going to like go into like looking at the CNN article and just reading it, all right, cool, you're not flippable, I don't care. I'm going to go to someone that is more open and someone that will be able to go to my side.
And also,
you're right, but we still do something about it at some point.
No, we should do something about it. We should do something about it, but I'm not going to put all my goddamn effort in that when I could win elections another way, win in other ways with the people that are flippable and people that could see that we actually got your back at the end of the day.
But also,
also,
I just want to point out that, and I mentioned this yesterday, but the scale of the problem is different now, and the form of the problem is different now. But this is actually not a new problem. Like, in fact, 150 or 200 years ago, it was actually way easier for, local politicians or local business owners or, to just blatantly lie to Americans and to voters. That
at least it was Americans lying to Americans.
It's a new form of the problem, but people being propagandized to believe things that are not true is certainly not. Look at the entire history of the South, like antebellum. Like that like what do you think was going on there in the airwaves, the radio waves? To continue and maintain that culture of like racism and white supremacy. And so, it's like really discouraging when you see so much bad information get out there. And I understand that it's super blackpilling, but as soon as you start, the conversation of how do we like restrict speech, even if your reason is valid, even if like the fact that there's a lot of lies is causing destruction and hurting the discourse and negatively influencing politics, it's just in America, that is a non-starter right now. That is a loser politically. And to Vishy's point, you're just much better off like doing good policy and just improving people's material conditions and increasing their wages. And, all these kinds of things are going to be way more effective in the long run against misinformation than the things that you're suggesting, which I think would just backfire.
I wish that people were able to see what was like, see the truth and understand that things things are getting better. So we don't need to change things. But like, look at the last 2 years of Biden. And I thought the Biden presidency was very successful, but no one thought that. Nobody came away thinking that.
Because
they came out of we lost all branches of government from it. And I think a lot of that had to do with foreign misinformation that was flooding our airways.
I also think even though it's improving, people don't want improvement. I think it's just the people I don't think it's the foreign. I think it's just people like, damn, my wallet sucks. I'm done. Inflation that happened. I don't care that it's getting better. I think Biden caused this. It's not. I don't literally think it's a misinformation thing. I think it's a people are just feeling thing, which is wrong. I'm not saying it's not right. That's just what's happening. Which is why people are getting buyer's remorse.
Feelings from that. Like they don't get a lot of people don't get these feelings of inflation and all that. Like just because because inflation was going down by the end of Biden's term, but people thought it was getting worse and they didn't come to that conclusion because what they were experiencing in their lives, because in their lives, inflation was going down. Like the real reality of the situation was that, but people kept talking. It was all about a vibe session. Like people just felt that way because people told them to feel that way.
So I'm going to channel my inner 20-year-old Buddhist phase Hutch and just say, it's better not to want things. It's better not to. It's better not to want things. You're not going to be disappointed when they don't happen. I'm just saying. I'm gonna leave it there, guys. I really I really did enjoy this conversation. Thank you guys for coming on the channel and keeping me entertained for fucking how many hours now. I appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate you bringing me.
Hutch, call-ins are good. Do it again tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll keep it.
Sunday.
Yeah, we'll see.
Easy content. Easy content.
All right, guys. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, buddy.